What's up, guys? Welcome to Daily Dose of Reddit. This is your host, Zach, and today's subreddit is r/TalesFromRetail. Alright, this story's called The Pay It Forward Chain. For the past 2 years, I've worked part-time as a cashier at a grocery store. I've been privy to several acts of kindness in the past, but there's one instance that really stood out to me as particularly rare. I remember it had been a fairly busy day, and I had already been at work for 4 to 5 hours or so. I think it was one of those weird middle shift days because I don't remember closing the store that night. Regardless, I was in a good mood and looking forward to my break. I was scanning the items of a lady in line, making small talk and smiling and generally trying to enjoy myself while making someone's day a bit brighter. She looked to be fairly young and seemed tired, but was kind, and got about $15 worth of microwavable stuff. I finished bagging her groceries. All of our baggers were busy, which was nothing new, so I was trying to be efficient, and she stayed at the end of the register, adjusting her purse and wallet after paying. Since she was taken care of, I started ringing up the gentleman behind her. I don't remember much about him other than the fact that he had quite a few small items and his total was about twice that of the lady before him. When he went to pay, the card reader gave him a chip error message. I directed him to try a few more times since our machines are pretty sensitive, and if the card is even a little smudged, it won't read it. Oftentimes, when a person rubs the card's chip between their fingers, it will work. Try that if you ever get the error message. However, when he tried it again, this time it registered as declined. He stepped away to call his bank, and I saved his order so I could move on to the next person. But I was stopped by the lady who had yet to leave. "I'll pay for him," she said, and she still looked tired. Kinda done with life? That kind of expression. I could see a bit of hesitation here, and the guy stepped away for a bit, so I said, "Are you sure?" The total was about $30. Again, this was about twice what tired lady had paid for her own order. I remember that she kinda paused for a moment, but she nodded. So I recalled the saved order and she paid for his items. I bagged them up, stuck the receipt inside one of the bags, and moved on to the next person in line. Tired lady had just left the register when the guy came back with his card, and I got to tell him, "Your groceries are already paid for. The woman in front of you took care of it." I got a really weird look from this guy. Like, he looked like I told him I was keeping a tiny man in the register to organize the change, or something equally ridiculous. He looked confused. "She did?" I nodded. Confused guy turned and looked at the guy behind him, then back at me. "Well, I guess I'll pay for him then." The dude behind him was not paying attention and had only gotten a few items, so I just sorta blinked at confused guy and was like, "Alright then." I finished scanning the items and confused guy stuck his card in, which was approved. Guess he got his bank stuff worked out. About this time, distracted guy realizes that I just handed him a receipt and is about to become confused guy number 2. Before he can say anything, he's told, "The lady ahead of me paid for mine, so I'm just passing it on. Have a nice day." I'm just sort of standing there at this point, waiting to see what would happen next. Distracted guy thanked confused guy and looked me dead in the eye and stated, "Well, I'm paying for hers then." This literally repeated 3 times down the line and only stopped because no one else entered the queue. The last woman who had her groceries paid for by the person in front of her was a mom of 2 kids, and she was floored when the guy paid her $60 bill. She flipped when I told her she was the 6th person in the pay it forward chain, and I had a great time telling my coworkers about it when I went on break. I feel like there's a lot of perceived peer pressure that is the incentive to be kind, and for a few of them, I certainly felt that vibe. But overall, it was just people paying it forward, and it was pretty cool. So thanks, tired lady. I hope you had a nice day after that because you made a bigger impact than you realized.
Well, that just sounds like socialism to me. You pay for your own groceries if you love America.
I'm joking, guys. You guys can pay for your groceries, everyone else's groceries, and not your own. Whatever you do with your money is up to you, and that's beautiful. So, tired lady, you're a good person, probably because you just wanted to get the day over with. Regardless, someone got something good out of it. Alright, this story's called Lady Complains After She Did Exactly What I Told Her Not to Do. I work for a local farmer here in Germany. in the summer at a strawberry field where you can pick the strawberries yourself for a lower price. This story happened at the beginning of the strawberry season, and I was just reminded by a friend of mine, so I thought I could post it here. It's the second day we have opened the field, and since it was rather early in the season, the strawberries sat under large, roughly 300-meter long tunnels. Think basic greenhouse with open ends. On the first day, we had opened the first two, but they were picked nearly empty, so on this day we opened the next two. It's roughly 1 hour after we opened, so the fields were well populated. Up comes this stage lady with an Eastern European accent. A wonderful good morning, in my friendly retail voice. How much? Thinking to myself, this will be pleasant. It's not like the price is hanging on a red paper between us in the middle of her field of view, just centimeters next to my face. €4.50 a kilogram, $3.90 a kilogram at 5 kilograms and above. That's expensive. Whatever, just give me a bowl. We sell small containers if you don't bring your own. Sure, I'll wait in and give you a number. I'll be back later. Please go into the 3 or 4 tunnel. Have fun. But I can't go in this tunnel. Pointing at the first one right beside the small stand I sit in. I'm sorry, this one was completely emptied yesterday. The 2 open ones are just open, so you will have no problem filling your bowl. But can't I just go into this one? There are only strawberries left that aren't quite ripe yet. It's pretty early and these strawberries need a few days to get fully ripe again. Can't I just look? I'm starting to get annoyed, but still rather friendly. Customer is king. I'm sorry, they won't taste well and need a few more days. But I can see red ones. I was here yesterday and the last customers had really bright ones. Please go down 20 meters to the open tunnels. This keeps going on for like 3 more minutes until she finally lets me take care of the next customer in line that's already waiting and is starting to get annoyed. While I take care of the next, pretty cheerful customer, I look after the lady and she is standing at the second closed tunnel and looks over her shoulder, sees that I'm looking at her, and proceeds to go to the third tunnel. Finally, roughly 20 minutes later, the Polish-Russian lady comes back through the first tunnel, ducks under the red and white band we have to close up the tunnels. I guess she got into the third one, ran right through it without picking a single strawberry, going out the other end to start at the back of the first tunnel just to be greeted by, surprise, surprise, a completely empty field. Slams the paper bowl onto my table with 3 nearly white berries in it and destroying it in the process and starts ranting at me. This is unacceptable. You ask ridiculous prices, are rude, and don't even have any strawberries on your field. I've come here from next city district only to waste my time. I will complain to my friends about this. That is so not Polish or Russian or whatever. Then she storms off, shoving the exact same lady that had to wait for her to the side, nearly knocking the 2 full bowls of something like 6 or 7 kilograms of strawberries out of her hands. Damn. I stood there pretty struck by what just happened. At least I had something to laugh at with a nice woman that nearly got knocked over. That strawberry field sounds really pretty to like hang out at and pick strawberries from. However, I know it's not the same country, but I watched Midsummer, and y'all Europeans be doing some weird stuff in the middle of summer. Midsummer. Alright, this story's called, On My Second Day of Work, I Accidentally Withdrew $100,000 Over. As I'm Danish, and this took place in Denmark, I apologize for my English and if some customs seem off. So this takes place back when I was 16 years of age, and had just started my job as a cashier down at the local supermarket. We offered to withdraw cash to a certain point above what the customer had bought in goods, which converted was about $100. On to the story. This was my very second time working as a cashier, and the first time I had been a cashier without a trainer helping me, so I was still new to how the machine worked. A middle-aged lady wanted to withdraw $100 above the amount she had bought groceries for, and I happily complied. I pressed $100 in, and the machine for some reason didn't allow it. No problem, I thought. I will just press $100 in again. and the machine allowed it. The lady put in her card, paid for everything, and asked for the receipt, in which, to my horror, she said she paid $100,100 above, meaning I had to pay out over $100,000 in cash. My dumb ass immediately notified her that we probably didn't have that much cash in the registry, and she was, for obvious reasons, rather frustrated. She demanded to see my manager while yelling and screaming at me. As this was my second day on the job, I was rather scared that I was going to get fired already. Introducing good guy boss. We will call him Mike. Mike came down to assess the situation, and the customer and I explained the situation to him. All the while, she was insulting me and basically demanding me to get fired, which in hindsight is probably not the most unreasonable reaction. Mike calmly looks her in the eye and tells her that he will fix it, and she can go home without a worry. Hearing this, she began to scream at Mike. "How could I ever possibly go home without a worry when I've just withdrawn $100,000 in a supermarket? Are you stupid or something?" This very clearly annoyed Mike, and he immediately replied,
Yes, because I know how banks work. Now go home.
He was doing his very best to not start a yelling competition with the customer. She begrudgingly, after some more arguing, went on her merry way home. At the end of my shift, I was called in by Mike to his office, where I was absolutely certain I was going to get the boot. What actually happened ended up being one of my fondest memories from retail. Basically, he immediately told me that it was not my fault, and it was her own fault that she had paid the $100,000, as she could see on the screen the amount that was going to be paid. After that, we spent a solid 10 to 15 minutes laughing about how red her face had been and the whole situation. I was also informed that the bank had straight up just not allowed the transaction, and it had been fixed within an hour or so of the incident. I didn't end up getting fired and ended up working there for a few additional years, but I will never forget the day in which I withdrew $100,000 in a supermarket and how amazing a boss I had at the time. Okay, I'm having trouble understanding this whole withdraw thing, and if one of you guys that are less stupid than I am, which is probably a lot of y'all, can explain it, that'd be great, because I don't understand what's going on here, but that is that's a very scary mistake to have made, but I'm sure that, like they said, easily fixed, but still scary. Big numbers like that freak me out. This story's called 6 feet is still 6 feet, ma'am. In either June or July of this year, we had a reset drop for our entire cosmetic wall, moving around brands, removing some, adding and revamping the products available. I happened to be working side by side with my manager one shift. She worked on soap and glory while I was covering number 7 right next to it. We were talking while working, joking around while staying busy until she left to go grab some more boxes of new signs for our areas, which left me cheerfully humming while reading how to reset the foundations and lipsticks to match the planogram. Minding my own business, I'm startled as there's suddenly something very close to my back and a hand reaching for a product right above my head. Now, I'm not claustrophobic, but I do have an issue with people I don't know being just a tad too close to me. And with this global situation going on right now, that's a major nope in my mind. I scoot rather quickly to the side and apologize for being in the way. Would have left sooner if something was said, but no words were mentioned before the invasion of personal space. I took note that it was a husband and wife duo. The wife was the one extremely close to me, the husband was a few feet away. Possibly the only one who took notice that there was a pandemic. "Oh, that's alright, you can go back to working. I'll only be a moment." "No, it's okay, I can wait. Gotta keep up the safety precautions." I'm standing on the other side of a 3-foot cart with shelves on it, just to pull it out from her, seeing as how I like to have carts resting against me for easy access, and she's still standing where I was sitting. Lady rolls her eyes and makes a muffled scoff. "We're both wearing masks, it's fine." She's getting mad. We may both be wearing one, but I'm wearing mine correctly. Hers is only covering the mouth and not the nose. I don't care if both of us were safe. 1, it's a public space, there are other people around. 2, I've got elderly at home and one with a weak immune system. I ain't taking risks. And 3, instead of looking for the product she wanted, she's instead just standing there staring at me and deciding to do this. Still in the customer service voice, that's still quite alright. Take your time. I need to go grab a tool anyways, so that will make this easier. I really didn't, but needed to do something instead of standing there just staring. So I started walking towards the stockroom, and lo and behold, a Karen suddenly emerges.
I can't believe the nerve of some people. I'm not contagious. Just because of these damn policies doesn't give people the right to act like I have the plague.
And that was what I heard walking away. Stood in the stockroom for a minute to make it seem like I was searching and grabbed a flathead screwdriver on my way out. Manager was back and working on the shelves again. Lady wasn't in the spot anymore, so I crouched down and went back to work. You think that would be the end of it though. Ha! She starts circling us like a shark around our station, walking from one end of the wall past us to the other end and back again. The entire time just repeating the same things. She's purposely loud enough so only we could hear and no one else a few aisles over.
This is a free country. I can be however close as I please. Can't believe they let such rude people work in the store. I never have any issues like this in
competitor store.
They at least treat me like a civilized being and not a rat. They need to fire her if this is how she treats people.
The list goes on, but I can't remember any others besides these. The manager gives me a side glance and I just shake my head. Guess she left a few minutes later cause the manager turned to me and said,
"What the hell was her problem?"
I just told her the story and she was baffled at how some apparently think they can act like this whole pandemic doesn't apply to them. Never did her husband utter a word during the entire thing. We waited a few days to see if any customer complaints would come down an email or if someone would call, but nothing happened after she left. That's good. That lady's wild and weird, but that's good. Nothing came out of it. That's good. That's pretty good, right, guys? I think it's good. Let me know in the comments below if that's good. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell to never miss an episode.